Hello, I'm Bradley and welcome to my channel. It is the 19th of December. It's time to make amends and let that rift go. This year has been full on with so many different storms have gone on in my family. So I've really just taken the time just to think, actually, do you know what? Whatever's happened, let's draw a line through it. Whatever's been said, whatever's happened, whatever can be waiting on a ledge to be argued about can just disappear and can just go, because Christmas is a magical time and it's only once a year. So if you've got family coming over, you've got friends, there is nothing worse than having a rift or just something which everybody's feeling but nobody's talking about it. Yeah, those sorts of things which happen in families. So I often think as well that actually when a family comes together at Christmas, it doesn't matter, does it? You can think what you like, but just do not say it. And I think we've all had experiences in our families where somebody said something, or somebody's got a little bit festive, a little bit too jolly, and they've said something which ordinarily they wouldn't say, and they certainly do not mean. Stress can be quite paramount, can't it, at Christmas? We're trying to strive for everything to be perfect, and may I remind you that sometimes the most imperfect situations and the most imperfect things can be the most special. But it's when you come together, isn't it? And I mean, siblings, for example, there is a little bit of element of sibling rivalry, isn't there? About gifts and one thing and another, and perhaps who has done what throughout the Christmas period, and kind of comparing lives and lifestyles and one thing and another. And it all gets silly, I think, doesn't it? But there's no good at saying that it doesn't happen, because it does. And I think that's what's evident of living in this century, what we live in right now, when it comes to any celebration in this world, when it comes to Christmas, whether it comes to Easter, it's always people are striving for bigger, better, which is certainly not the way forward, and is certainly not the way that we should be thinking at Christmas. Christmas is reminding us, quite simply, that we are spending time with the people who mean the world to us. It's to highlight those special bonds. It's to highlight the people who mean the world to us, and without them around that Christmas table, our Christmases and our families just simply wouldn't be the same. Christmas has a beautiful way of capturing the essence of what's in the centre of the family, that actually, regardless of what anybody's got, whatever anybody does, but the one thing we all share in common is that common ground of love and how much we feel for one another. Christmas so amazingly reminds us, and of course from the Christmas story, that actually there is so much in this life to be celebrated with what we've been blessed with. And just because sometimes we don't necessarily agree with how somebody conducts their life or the decisions somebody's made, it really is just quite as simple as think what you like, but keep it to yourself, and just out of the inner good and just loving somebody, sometimes being kind and sparing somebody's thoughts and feelings, especially at Christmas time, is so vitally important, and can often be the greatest gift for everybody else. Christmas, as you can probably tell, there's been a few hiccups in my, let's say, recent years, and especially throughout my 20s, the Christmases and things which I have shared with family and family occasions and get-togethers, there have been one or two upsets and crosswords, but nothing which would ever be construed as being nasty or facetious. It's just quite simply that somebody perhaps not keeping them thoughts to themselves, or somebody perhaps showing off, or maybe somebody just trying to be a little bit too jolly or a little bit too festive. Sometimes when we have a laugh and a joke, it can often be construed slightly differently, and I'll hold my hands up to that I am the person who is probably always the last to get a joke, and very often I take things to heart like that. And I know at Christmas time I should try to put that aside, and I shouldn't take things literal, but you can't help how you are chemically, can you, made up inside. For me, I often find if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I always ask them how they are first of all, and what they're doing. And then, if they give that natural opening up in the conversation, then I express what I'm doing and what I'm going through and how I'm feeling. Christmas is a magical time, but my goodness, there's a lot on the line, isn't there? It's a whole bunch of characters coming together in one family, possibly in one room, one setting, and everybody at that common ground, because everybody cares for one another, and it's also special because it's family. Sometimes, as I've said to you, the most imperfect situation is truly perfect. Nothing more makes me feel so on top of the world and so warm with Christmas nostalgia, both of past and present, when I'm in a room at Christmas with my mum and dad and my brothers and their partners and my nieces, my nephew, and when I see family and when I see friends from a long time ago, people who I've worked with, people who I even went to school with. When I see all of that, it really makes me feel all fuzzy and warm and that real Christmas spirit. And I love to know that people are okay. I am a person who is naturally not overbearing, but controlling. And it worries me and it panics me if people who I love aren't right or aren't in a good place. So I go above and beyond to help them make sure that they're in a good place. And then I think about myself afterwards. For me, I always like to put other people first, put family first. It's important to capture times throughout the Christmas season to do things what we love, but ultimately if my family aren't in a great place, or if they're not feeling great, or if they're going through something, it disrupts me, it makes me upset, and it's something I have to deal with, and I have to help them on their way before I can then continue to enjoy myself. So sometimes it can be a bit disappointing when it comes to Christmas if somebody says something, or somebody's perhaps got a little bit too jolly, or perhaps somebody speaks a little bit quickly before speaking or engaging. Let's put it that way. But ultimately, isn't it? It truly is that never ever hold a grudge, because I can't remember where I heard this from, but how on earth are you ever going to fly in this life and have all these incredible things and have an incredible life if you're holding on to a heavy grudge? All of that energy, no thank you. That wasted energy holding on to something. Forgive, forget, move on. You don't have to think, do you know what I mean? You don't have to think ill of somebody. That's a conscious choice. That's a conscious choice of being mad at somebody, and it's one I do not take lightly and I do not do. When something's done, there is not too many things in this world which we can't work together to rectify or get through. Now I know, my friends, there's so many things in this world which many will think that actually there's no coming back from that. But actually, sometimes the ultimate person who we're hurting is ourselves. And sometimes we can shut ourselves out from family, we can shut ourselves out from friends, and we can cut ourselves off from strong relationships and those loving, amazing, magical relationships. So whoever it is this Christmas, who you're having, let's say, a bit of a crossword with, or holding a bit of a wrath with because something what's happened throughout the year, make all the effort you can to repair that, to kind of rekindle that bond, to kind of just make it all go away. Because ultimately, it's us what hold on to those grudges, those wrongdoings, those bad words. And it's just as simple to find a positive one and throw away the negative. And let's finish 2024 on a positive. Now, I know, my friend, it's not always as easy as that, believe you me. With 3 brothers, their partners, and a huge cascade of all different family and cousins, I absolutely get that. But having said that, I do try my best, and that's all we can do. So on that note, try your best. God bless you. And this Christmas, I hope you have a really amazing one. So on that note, thanks very much for sharing this clip with me. And be kind to yourself, don't forget. And let's let go of those woes and hardships. And be careful with our choice of words this Christmas. On that note, God bless, take great care, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye now.